So the election's over and we might be feeling some relief. Things seem fairly calm for the moment. But the question is, should we be letting our guard down? Or is this the peace before the storm? Before the election, I'd mentioned that one of the best outcomes would be a landslide victory to keep the unrest to a minimum. We prayed for it, and here we are. But if we're honest, this calm can only be temporary. We're still living in a very unstable world where most people are deeply reliant on the system for even their most basic needs. Just think about it. There's an unresolved strike with the East Coast longshoremen, and it's only been paused until January 15. If negotiations fall through, we're looking at a supply chain hit that could leave the shelves bare. And our strategic oil reserves, dangerously low. If a major crisis were to shut down the flow of oil, we'd be out of fuel in less than 20 days, which would impact the trucks, the trains, and the ships that haul virtually everything everywhere. And then there's the power grid. It's struggling to keep up with demand and only expected to stretch further. And these are just a few of the serious issues that are staring us in the face right now. And prophecy tells us to expect greater calamities, and we're seeing the setup before us. Not only natural disasters, but systems of control are being built, where anyone who doesn't comply could be economically canceled, just like Revelation predicted. So here we are, post-election, with a new administration that's promising sweeping change. But friends, if they follow through with this, the deep state isn't going to get replaced without a desperate struggle. It's going to be a fight. So I'm not expecting the next few years to be particularly quiet or calm. But let's just hope for the best and say that we're entering a time of peace. The real question is, what are we going to do with that time of peace? One option is to do what Hezekiah did. God extended his life by 15 years, giving him time to prepare and use his blessings wisely. But instead, he turned inward. We're told that Hezekiah accumulated treasures, building exceeding much riches and honor, treasuries for silver and for gold and for precious stones. And when the prophet Isaiah warned him that calamity was coming, Hezekiah just shrugged it off, saying, "Is it not good if peace and truth be in my days?" In other words, who cares about the future as long as I can be comfortable and live the good life now? But there's another option for dealing with times of peace. It's what good King Asa did. Like Hezekiah, Asa was given a time of peace, but he didn't let that lull him into complacency. Instead, he led his people in a spiritual revival, and then he got to work physically, saying, "Let us build these cities and make about them walls and towers, gates and bars, while the land is yet before us." Asa saw peace as a gift, a time to work, to prepare his people, and to lead them back to God. In his preparation, Asa recognized that peace on this earth is temporary, and when the Ethiopian army, with over 1 million men, came against him, he was ready. Although his defenses couldn't match such an overwhelming force, Asa's faith in God remained firm. The book Prophets and Kings tells us, "From every human viewpoint, the vast host from Egypt would sweep everything before it." But in time of peace, Asa had not been giving himself to amusement and pleasure. He had been preparing for any emergency. He had an army trained for conflict. He had endeavored to lead his people to make their peace with God, and now, although his forces were fewer in number than the enemy, his faith in the one whom he had made his trust did not weaken. Now listen to this. Having sought the Lord in the days of prosperity, the king could now rely upon him in the day of adversity. So the question for us is, if we get a time of peace, will we use it like Asa to prepare and to strengthen our faith? Or like Hezekiah to just sit back and enjoy the moment? Let's choose wisely. Let's use this time, however brief it may be, to build our faith and to follow up that faith with practical actions so that we're ready to stand in God's strength in whatever lies ahead. Have a good week.